today I'm going to be talking a little bit about positive affirmations. So on my channel, I do record and post affirmations up here for people to use in their regular life. But I haven't really sat down and talked about why and how to use affirmations. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today in this first video about affirmations. So today I'm going to be talking about how I define affirmations and focusing on our intention for truth. And I'll also go in a little bit about my history with affirmations and how I personally use them. So if you know me or you've attended my fitness classes, you've probably listened to some of my affirmations and reacted, oh, that was nice. And that was just nice to relax and think something positive. And I'm going to hang on to a phrase from there for the rest of my day. But for me, affirmations is a whole lot deeper. It's kind of been life-changing for me. And so I want to talk about how I specifically use them first. So I kind of have been using mantras or affirmations for as long as I can remember, just as a way to deal with life. I've always really, really wanted to be happy, and I do feel like I am a naturally happy person. I feel better when I'm smiling and having fun. I look for the positive in things. That's kind of been a natural trait. However, my childhood and things haven't been ideal, and many, many times in my life, happiness has been a choice for me, and it has been something independent of what's happening on the outside of me. So what's happening in my regular life, things that I can't control. It's really been about something personal and something happening inside of me. And that's why affirmations work so well and make so much sense to me. I really started practicing listening to affirmations and reading them on a daily basis while practicing hypnobirthing with my two youngest children, and it was life-changing to say the least. If you don't know too much about hypnobirthing, basically it's the practice of natural labor or unmedicated labor, as all childbirth really is natural. But it's just using, not using medication or epidurals, and basically having the pain-free experience of labor while using hypnosis techniques and relaxation in order to feel comfortable throughout your labor experience. And some people, that's a little bit over their heads where they're like, well, it's painful, you can't get around that. But really, in order to have a pain-free and beautiful experience in your labor where you feel comfortable and relaxed, there's a lot of things that you need to accept in the first place, mentally, physically, spiritually. So it's not only about teaching your body to relax, but teaching your mind to accept the fact that labor is natural, that it's safe, that you are going to be okay, that you can be comfortable, that when things get hard, you can relax deeper, and that will actually make things easier. So there's a lot of things that you mentally need to accept. And so it's pretty encouraged, at least in the Monaghan method, that you practice affirmations once a day for the entirety of your pregnancy. And that's what I did. And it was very, very life-changing. And I was able to see how the words of affirmations, accepting something in my mind, could physically change the way that my body felt and experienced things. And that was amazing to me and life-changing. And basically, after those babies were born, I couldn't really go back to life without having some kind of affirmation and feeling like I was working on something and moving in a certain direction. So I've continued affirmations, and it's become a regular practice for me where I will either, sometimes it may just be a mantra that I have written on a sticky note that I just have, that I change out frequently, that's hanging on my mirror or on the fridge or something like that. Sometimes it's a list that I'll write out when I'm struggling with something and I just need to write out those things that I need to remember in the hard times, and I'll read through that list. I usually like to read through something positive to keep me focused on the direction that I'm trying to work at the end of the day, the last 5 minutes that I'm asleep or that I'm awake before going to sleep. And of course, I also will record and listen to. There's something about listening to my own voice telling me something that makes it much easier for me to accept and I'll listen to those affirmations set to soothing music as a way of relaxation. And the times that I'm most receptive to that are right after I have pushed my body. So if I exercise and I go all out and I've laid it all out there, because I'm kind of a busybody and I'm all over the place all the time, it's hard for me to calm down and relax. It really takes work. So once I've put my whole body to work for like an hour of exercise, then I can cool down, turn down the lights, and listen to affirmations. And that's when I feel myself readily accepting them and like I've done something for myself physically and mentally, and I walk away feeling whole and well-rounded. So those are some ways that I use affirmations. Now let's get into defining affirmations. If I could give a subtitle to this title of positive affirmations, it would be this: rewriting your own personal narrative for happiness and growth. That's how I think about affirmations and how I define it for myself. So everybody has their own personal narrative. It's the story that we tell ourselves and write in our minds. It's how we view the world. That's why people living a very, very similar experience, you could have two different people that see the world in completely different ways, because it's about their own personal narrative and what's going on inside of them and not necessarily what's happening to them in their lives. So taking your own personal narrative, looking at it, analyzing some of the negative things, trying to replace them with positive, trying to move in a positive direction, rewriting that narrative so that you can move towards growth and overall happiness and acceptance in your life. So let's look at two words. First off, to affirm is simply to declare something to be true. And a mantra, which basically you have several mantras in listening to affirmations. It's a statement or slogan repeated frequently. So it's something that we believe and accept so that it changes our perspective and our actions. So you could have just a couple of statements or slogans that you'd repeat on a regular basis, or you could affirm several things. That basically the key to this is repeating frequently. So it becomes a part of you. You have to believe and really accept something to allow it to change you, to change your perspective, and then thus to change your actions and what you become in your life. So if your thoughts determine your actions and your actions determine your overall life, your thoughts are pretty important, and they are powerful and persuasive. And thus, a positive affirmation declares something positive thing to be true in relation to us and the world around us. So when using positive affirmations in your daily life, we repeat sentences or phrases regularly in order to make a formal declaration to yourself and to the universe of your intention for it to be truth. Now that last phrase there is really key, your intention for it to be truth, and it's something that you really have to wrap your mind around and understand in order for affirmations to work for you. So speaking to our intention for truth, sometimes the things that we're affirming or we want to affirm might not be completely accurate or true at the time. And if it's something that you're working on, there's a reason that you're working on it, right? So declaring our intention for truth means holding a vision for what you know can be true. If we spend so much time focusing on where we are right now, we may never see where we can go. Affirmations are all about accepting that it is possible for people to change, for you to change. So I might be thinking to myself, oh, I'm feeling frustrated as a mother of young children, which I need to specify that because I think they require more patience. Well, I don't know. Talk to me when I have teenagers. That's probably not true. But in the thick of things with 3 young children over here, I sometimes find myself losing my temper. I always pictured myself wanting to be like at least some mothers that I idolized growing up that were just so soft-spoken and gentle and kind and really Cinderella-esque. I mean, that Disney princess was just abused and treated horribly, and yet she just responded with happiness and would sing to herself while she went about her work and communicate with animals, and she was just operating on a higher plane of gentleness and kindness, right? I am a little bit more sassy than Cinderella, and I have a significantly shorter fuse and a temper. And so sometimes when I give affirmations about how I'm being gentle and kind with my children, there are times that I feel really discouraged, and I can look and say, you know what, that hasn't been true today. But that doesn't do me any good. If I were to sit and affirm the things that are currently true on a daily basis, it might not be the kind of work that I want to do. Affirmations are all about saying, holding a vision for what you know can be true. I absolutely know that I have the potential of being gentle and kind and reassuring and patient, even when my children are at their worst. Where I can say, it's fine that you have these feelings and that you're having this huge meltdown right now in a public place. That's fine with me, and I love you, and you're safe with me, and I can just be patient with that. That's not always the case, and I don't always behave at my best and perfectly. But I have seen improvement as I am acknowledging that I can be this picture of my best self. I can be better, and I can improve those things that I find myself faulting with. So it's just about accepting that it is possible for you to change and for you to be how you would like to be. So it is important that you choose affirmations that are realistic and possible. You need to hold that vision for something and knowing that it can be true of you. So I wouldn't affirm myself for growing or being 5'7". I'm 5'1". That will never happen. I'll never grow taller, says genetics and science. So affirmations just have to be something that is possible for us. And maybe it seems like a stretch for you, but you're slowly growing and working towards that. And the more that you gain confidence and move forward, the more you kind of adjust what it is that you're affirming and you move in different directions. But it's all about growth. I really think it's important that we embrace the yet in our life. Maybe I'm not the most patient mother yet. Or some days. Some days I'm pretty good. It's all about saying, I'm not very patient. I'm not very persistent. It's hard for me to keep at things. I'm not persistent yet, but I'm working on it. So we just always have to be shooting off into the distance for what is a possibility, what we can be working towards. So what do you think would change in your life if you had someone that really believed in you, that saw your potential, that knew all of the wonderful things that you could be, and that was behind you going, it's okay that you messed up on that today, that you didn't do it perfectly. It's fine. Embrace your journey. Embrace where you are at right now, because it's all part of an important journey that is about growth. We are not born perfect, and many of the things that we've all achieved in our lifetime, there's been maybe 5 years ago that wasn't a possibility for you, that wasn't even on the horizon. You didn't have any inkling that you were going to be able to do that. But as you start moving forward, you gain confidence and you start moving in directions where if you're confident enough, you can move forward and you can achieve it, and you surprise yourself. So what do you think your life would look like if you had someone that really, really believed in you and was patient with you and forgiving? What if that person was you? And you didn't have to depend on anybody else being that for you, but you were going to make a choice that you were that person for yourself. And that's what affirmations mean for me. That's what I can do with mine. That's why I feel confidence that I can change and that I can move forward and be my better self, because I am constantly rewriting my own personal narrative, scratching out those negative thoughts and saying, this doesn't serve me. How can I change this? If I'm having an issue or a problem, something I need to work on, what can I say to myself to encourage myself to keep going and moving forward so that I can be happy right where I am and find happiness in my future, and so that I can be continually growing in my life and working to be better because I believe in myself. That's what affirmations are all about. If you'd like to hear more, I will probably make some more videos with more specifics, because I could just talk about affirmations all day, and I could talk about hypnobirthing all day as well, especially when I'm pregnant. I'm not now, but I think I spend 9 months telling people that it is possible. But that has been a little outlook on affirmations, how I use them, our intention for truth, and how I would define them.